Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Carolyn's Corner Live. I'm so glad y'all are here, and I am confident that if you're not here, you're on your way. I'm just going to assume you're stuck in traffic. Welcome to Carolyn's Corner. I'm so thankful that all of you have joined us tonight or are on your way. I'm super excited about tonight's show, just like I am about every show, but we're doing something a little different tonight. We have got, for the first time ever, an actor and I heard you were like a humorist, maybe not a comedian necessarily, but a humorist. You
Yeah.
should fit right into our little world over here. Mr.
Great.
Joey Thurmand. Welcome, Joey.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited about being with you guys. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, and we are so excited to have you, honestly, because we have already featured so many singers and songwriters and authors. In fact, you are season 2, episode 19, so that means this is episode 69.
That's awesome.
Yes, and we've been blessed to have been able to meet so many talented people, and we've been wanting to expand to different, I guess technically it's almost like a different category, a different genre. So I am so glad that we're starting that off with you, Joey.
That's awesome. And
Yes, well,
congratulations, season 2, 19 episodes. That's great.
yes,
It's such
sir.
a big deal to when you're able to move into the next season and you keep getting more things. It's really a much bigger deal than people think it is, because oh man, the amount of work that goes into it. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And the reason that we've been able to accomplish that is because of great people like you, people agreeing to come on our show and share their story, share their talent. The reason we started doing this is because I'm a songwriter and a singer-songwriter, and
Nice.
my friend Paul is an author. And we said, is there some place where people can go and share their passions? Honestly, is
Mhm.
what it was. And I
Mhm.
thought, well, if we can make this a safe place, a good place for them to come share what they're passionate about and get their information out to others, then let's do it. And we were shocked to see that there are not very many opportunities for folks to do that. So we
Right.
said, let's do it. And it's just grown. So we've just been so blessed. Thank you so much to everyone who's here. Can someone comment for me? We always like to make sure, Joey, that everything's working before
Yeah.
we start it. And Joey, while we're waiting for someone to comment, why don't you start off, if you wouldn't mind, sir, by telling us a little, as much as you like, about yourself.
Oh wow. Well, I started, I guess, a professional career. I was a pro wrestler for WCW for 4 years, and I had an injury there that ended that career. And then I went on to a career in law enforcement in the Atlanta area for 16 years, and had a fantastic career. I got to do things that I always wanted to do, and it was a really good career. I was able to I know that I was able to help save some lives, but I hope that I was able to help change some lives for the better as well. But after that, I kind of backed into acting. My first movie was a million years ago. It was Remember the Titans, and that was the very first movie that I ever done.
I
19, 20
remember
years
that
ago now.
movie.
Yeah, and
Wow.
so that was the first movie that I was a part of, and I'm real easy to find. I was just a football player on the field. If you find the shortest football player on the field, you have absolutely found me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I'm pretty easy to pick out. But since then, I have I don't even know. I think that I heard yesterday that I was up to like 51 or 52 IMDb credits. I've been a part of that many television and movie productions, from everything from the little roles of man on the park bench to now it's to lead roles and starring in films, and it's been amazing. And uh,
Wow.
I've, I've been blessed to be able to go and share what I hope is comedy. I think that it's humor anyway, all across the country. I've been able to do that as part of. Originally, I was part of the Tellin' Tales comedy tour, and then that morphed into 10/8 America's Funniest Cops Back in Service comedy tour. And I'm doing stuff now individually and on my own. I'm the comedian on the Redback Revival sing along show
Oh
that's
my
based
gosh.
out of Atlanta. And so we just got some really great news today. I can't tell what that is yet, but
Oh man, I thought we were going to
really
get the
exciting.
scoop.
It's good news. So it's good news because we just finished our first season, and that's airing now. and we got some really good news about how can I say it without saying it? About what's next. How about that?
Oh, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's so exciting. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on on
Thank you.
something you can't tell us. We can
Thank
use
you.
our
Thank you.
imagination. You are
There you
so
go.
well.
There
Gosh,
you go.
so you started out, and this when I read this, honest Joey, I was like, really? I mean, most of us as human beings are lucky if we accomplish one magnificent thing in our lives. But
Right.
you have done so many things. I mean, it's like the hand of God is on you just saying go. I mean, honestly, because you
Yeah.
started out as a wrestler. So tell us a little bit about that if you would.
Well, that was the only thing that I ever wanted to do. I can remember being just a little guy, and that was it. That was like they're kids that wake up one day and they know in their heart that they want to be baseball players or football players, and I just knew that that was it. That was what I was put on this planet to do. And
Wow.
I'm going to tell you, I went really, really fast in that business. I had some really great opportunities really quick, and I got to go all over the country, and I got to work on big pay-per-views and things around the world, and I just had such great opportunities there. And I truly wish that for me, I would have liked for it to been able to last a little bit longer,
Right.
but
I'm sure.
um, God had other plans. He needed me somewhere else, and
Wow.
I think that somebody asked me this exact same question about, or made the comment about, you've been able to do this and this and this and so many different things, and I kind of attribute that to just hopefully being available. Um, in the acting industry, in the television and film industry, and I think a lot of times in entertainment, period, the number one thing that you can be is available. Because sometimes things happen just at the very last minute. And I done tonight. I had an audition this afternoon. My agent called and she was like, "Okay, you got to do this audition because it's for this really big, huge movie." And I'm like, "Okay, great. Is what kind of role is it?" She was like, "The role is not that big, but I know that you'll kill it because it's a kind of a character role, and people are going to remember you doing this role." So
Oh, wow.
but it happens so fast that they want the audition. They'll give you a time. They'll say, "Hey, turn it in by Monday." But what they're really telling you is turn it in by 8 o'clock tonight. And
Right.
and that's so we have to kind of be available as quick as we can to learn something, jump into the studio real quick or a little makeshift studio, knock it out as quick as you can, kind of put it together and send it off. And that's how it starts. So being available, I think, is one of the best things that we can be, not only professionally, but just in life, because there's so many opportunities and so many experiences that um, that just present themselves all of a sudden. It's just boom, here it is. Are you going to take
Wow.
care of it? What are you going to do? Which way are you going to go with it? And I just, I, somebody asked me, it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago, if there was anything that really scared me. And I thought about that. And the only thing that really scares me is to have my grandchildren climb up on my lap one day and me tell them about a story that I wish that I had done. I wish I had done this experience. I wish I had done it. And that's what scares me. But I want to be available, and hopefully, uh, through that, He uses me to reflect. When I say He, I mean I'm referring to God. Hopefully, God
Yes.
will use me to reflect His love in that particular situation, because it seems that every facet of my life so far, in one way or another, I have used in almost every other situation, if that makes sense.
Right.
I've just, He's given me such a huge treasure chest of experiences to use in different situations. I know that when I was policing, things would be very, very tense or very serious on a certain situation. And a lot of times I would crack a joke, and it was really out of place to think about humor at some times, but
Yeah.
it was just the little relief that the situation needed to calm it down. It really helped diffuse a lot of
So
situations.
so all this
So
time he's been putting tools in your toolbox to use, and you
yeah,
didn't even know what for. In the
yes,
future, you didn't know you were gonna go into acting or a police officer or any of that.
Right.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
really amazing. And I want to interrupt you real quick and say hello to Rosalie. Rosalie
Oh,
Hovencampfor. Thank
hi.
you for being here, beautiful. Rosalie is the one who recommended you, and I'm so glad she did, or referred you, whatever you
Uh,
want to call it. I'm so glad you did, Rosalie. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here.
yeah. Rosalie is one of my castmates on the Redback Hymnal Revival Sing Along show.
Oh my
She,
gosh, that is so great. Isn't her voice beautiful too?
oh
Oh
yeah,
my
she's
gosh. I was so
ridiculously
thrilled.
talented.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
amazing. She's amazing. We were thrilled to have her on the show last week, and I'm so glad to have you on here. Gosh, I need to figure out a way to watch that. Is that on TV? Is that on television everywhere or
It's on television. Some of the news that I can't share is about how much broader the market is
oh,
about to get for that show.
oh wow,
Um,
okay.
but you can watch the episodes that have already aired. You can watch
Okay.
those via YouTube, and they're
Okay.
available. Obviously anywhere for any device.
Wow, that's exciting. So,
Yeah.
Joey, one of the other things I really want you to share, besides all the great things you're doing, and I mean, it's mind blowing to me, it is. Um, you have something that happened that kind of put a stop to your wrestling career. And
Mhm.
when I read that, it really like, wow. I mean, what an incredible story and journey. Would you mind sharing that with everyone? Because I think,
Yeah.
let's see, jock music. I'm not sure what that says. We'll get it in a second. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, sure. So I had been working at WCW now for, I don't know, a couple of years, and I'd been wrestling all over the United States for a couple of years before that. And we get to this event that's leading up to one of the big pay-per-view events. It was leading up to a Halloween Havoc, which was one of the big pay-per-view things. They had 4 or 5 a year. And the storyline for this particular match was I was going to go. I was the new young kid at the time, and I was going against the giant, if you would. So I would be David, he would be Goliath, and we get in the ring, and it's supposed to be a really quick, easy match. It's going to be really fast, probably 4.5, 5 minutes, something like that. And we get in the ring to do it, and we get to the finishing move, and we had an accident, and I was put down an estimated about 13 feet and landed across the back of my head and neck, and it kind of accordioned me up, if you will.
Oh
So
my
when
gosh.
I hit that, somebody figured out one time, I can't remember now what they estimated the speed at, but when I hit it, it broke my T12 and T11 vertebrae, and the swelling was so fast, like it was instantaneous, that from that vertebrae down, it pinched off the fluid, my spinal fluid flowing through my spinal cord. So I was paralyzed from there down.
Oh my
And
God.
so they take it took almost an hour to get me out of the ring, to get me stabilized, to get me out of the ring, and get me on the way to the hospital. When we get to the hospital, the doctor, he comes in and he says, we've done CT scans, we've done MRIs, we've done X-rays, we've done all these things, and I don't know what to tell you. And this is honestly what I told him. I said, well, you need to figure it out, because I have to be in Pittsburgh tomorrow night.
Oh my gosh.
And he said, you don't understand. He said, you're not going to go anywhere for a while. You're probably never going to walk again.
Wow.
And still in my mind, I was so headstrong about what I was going to do that I remember I reached up and I grabbed that doctor by his shirt, and I was a big guy then. I was a lot bigger than I am now. I was really, really big. And I grabbed him and I snatched him down in my face, and I was literally nose to nose with this doctor. And I told him, I said, I don't care what you have to do. You fix it.
Wow.
And he pulled my hand off of him, and he stepped back and he said, I'm telling you, but you're not hearing me. You are probably never going to walk again.
Oh my gosh.
And I told him, I said, get out of my room. Get away from me. And they ended up moving me from, this was in Augusta, Georgia. They moved me from Augusta, Georgia to a hospital closer home near the Atlanta area. And my mom and dad called my small church family in to my room when I got there, and they kept me knocked out for 9 days.
Wow.
And they prayed over me. They prayed for me in the hallway. They prayed for me in the parking lot in the front of the hospital. And it took a while. I was in a body cast and a brace for another 14 months. I had to learn how to get my steps back. I had to learn how to do that again. But 10 days later, when they wheeled me down to the door in this big body cast and brace, when they wheeled me down to the door, I made the nurse stop that was pushing my wheelchair. And I said, no, this is as far as we go. And she said, no, you have to leave the wheelchair. And I said, I'm not leaving like this. And it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, I bet.
But I stood up and I walked across the threshold of that hospital. I walked out of the hospital. And
Wow.
then they put me back in the chair. But see, that was absolutely nothing that I'd done.
Yeah.
That wasn't my faith. That wasn't my faith, because I didn't know that it was happening.
Yeah, you were out of it.
That was the faith of literally thousands and thousands of people.
Oh my God.
Because for months and months and months, I would get these huge bags of fan mail. You know, sometimes I would get 8 at a time. And when I say, I'm talking, you know, they're big as like the 50-gallon trash bag, these big cloth mail bags.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my faith that done that, because I didn't know that it was happening.
Yeah.
It was the faith of those around me that believed that and knew what God could do. And in all honesty, it's so similar to the men that took their friend and couldn't get in to see Jesus and decided, you know what, we'll go up and tear the roof off of this place and we'll lower him down and get it. It wasn't because of anything the man done. It was because of the faith of his friends. So here's the lesson. Here's the true lesson. The true lesson is to make sure that you're surrounding yourself. And I've got a great friend that says this so well. He told me this, and he uses this. He said, make sure that you got some friends around you that'll tear roofs off for you.
Wow.
So
I love that.
That's who you build your circle out of. You got to get those, as Jim says it, and his name is Jim Slay. He's a great friend. And you get you some roof tearing off friends, and then you got real friends. And yeah.
Wow.
So that's the story.
Gosh, that's an incredible story. Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just like shocked that's such a cool story.
No. That's so I've been in the ring since then. I actually went back and I've done some benefits and some fundraiser things for, like, I think the last one I done was maybe for Special Olympics, and that was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. But I'm so blessed that to be away from that business for this long, that people still call and remember me and remember all of the things that I've done up to that point. And it's not just that, you know, it's not just, oh, you're the guy that got hurt really bad. It's really heartwarming. It really makes you feel like that the work you put in was good. And
wow,
so
that's incredible. So I had someone ask me, I think it was my daughter, I was telling her about you coming on the show, you know, because it's something different. I was so excited. And I believe she's the one, or my son asked, what was your wrestling name? Did you have a wrestling name?
I did. Before I went to WCW, I was kind of the bad guy. I was always the bad guy, actually. And my hair was all crazy and everything. I was just kind of a wild guy. My character, he was just all over the place. That character's name was Mad Dog Joe. And for the first 2 years that he was around, he was in the top, I think Pro Wrestling Illustrated put out a list of the top 300 wrestlers every year. And he was in that every single, both first year. But when I went to WCW, I was Joe Thurmand, Thurman. And my stage name was the All-American Kid. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And I like the way you said he, because it's a character you're playing. So you don't even, to you, it's probably like, it's not even you. It was him.
Right.
He was in the top. That's amazing. It's almost like you're separating yourself from that. That's because he's almost like a role you played, I guess. Right.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And I've used that so many times. because to me, there's so many actors that have such a hard time stepping into a role,
Right.
and it's just never been a problem for me. I don't know.
Wow.
I always make the joke that once you step out on pay-per-view in your underwear in front of millions of people, you can do anything else. You know,
I guess so.
it's just
I
not
guess
that tough.
And the wrestling gave you, some of those skills that you needed for your acting career later, and you had
Oh
no
yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Wow, isn't that
absolutely.
amazing? So
Yeah.
you were a police officer, and I also saw that you've done some, humanitarian efforts for the veterans and for the
Mhm.
homeless. You wanna touch on that for a moment? Tell us
Sure,
some of the
sure,
I
I
know you
can.
probably hate bragging on yourself, but I just think it's incredible, and I love your inspiring stories. I really do. I
Well,
think it's so incredible.
it's nothing that I have done. I just I hope that I reflect. I said this to someone, actually a producer I was talking to yesterday. I hope that I'm like the moon. I just want to reflect what God does so that other people can see that. And I think that
Wow.
he's used me in some pretty extraordinary situations to be able to do that. I've I've hung upside down off of an interstate bridge with
Oh,
a 14-year-old gang member trying to kill himself and trying to take me with him, and hung upside down and just hanging on to him with my foot's locked into the fence, and him screaming at me and begging me, let me go, let me go, let me
oh my
go.
god.
And that's just one of the situations that God allowed me to be there
Right.
when somebody else might not have been able to do physically what I done, or not handled it the way that I did. And so I feel like that God put me there for that young man at that
Yes.
time. And he put him there for me,
Yes.
because to be honest with you, that's a test of that's one of those tests of what you will do. You know, are you willing to go over the edge for somebody that you really
Oh
don't
my
even know?
gosh.
And
Yeah, of
so that's one of the situations that I'm really not. I don't want to get into some of the situations, but
course, of course.
situations where I was able to help people completely change
Oh my gosh.
their circumstances, and it was just because God decided that I was the one that needed to be there then.
Absolutely. And we talk about every week on our show, we talk about how everyone you meet is a part of your giant quilt in your life. And
Yeah,
God knows exactly where he's going to use you and where he wants you to be. And you
yeah,
definitely are a walking example of that, because he literally has everything set up. He's like, you're going to meet this kid this time, that you're going to hang off. You know what I mean? Whatever.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you don't, you just obey him. You just do it. And I think it's incredible. I mean, you're just following what gosh, that's so amazing. And the roles, you're just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna play this now, right? Is that
yeah,
how you
yeah,
kind of feel? Okay, he's gonna be this. I'm okay, I'll do
yeah.
it. I'll do it.
But
Gosh,
you
and
know, I
making
think that
yourself available. Yeah.
the true amazing thing about God is that He always has a contingency plan. Me and my wife were sitting with a couple of my friends the other day. It's been, I don't know, a week or two ago now, and we were talking about some things that my friend was going through, and I said, but you know, the amazing thing about God is that no matter which street we choose to go down, God's got a contingency to make it work for the good, for His good, one way or the other. So
Yeah.
that is the truly amazing thing to me. It is that, and I say those things because I need to hear them too. And
Absolutely.
today I needed to hear that, and my wife reminded me of that today when I really needed it, because I was in one of those situations where I thought that I was just beating my head against the wall, and she reminded me of me talking to my friend. She's like, "Remember that?" So it's as bad as I didn't want to hear it then. She was right, and but it's just amazing how he always has an ability and a plan to make it good, regardless. Doesn't matter what it is. He can
Regardless.
clean it up and make it right.
Wow.
Um, and it's just I think that's other than the unconditional love, that's to me is the true wonder of God.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's just incredible. I mean, you're a walking testimony to his guidance, his love, I mean, for real, you really, really are, because you can say, look what he's done for me, and so many
Yeah,
people out there are struggling every day just to make it from one day to the next. I mean,
yeah,
we have I think we're having an epidemic right now of depression and anxiety, and
Sure.
everyone's dealing with something, and
Yeah.
what a great way to be able to motivate someone and say, look, I am literally a walking example of what he can do.
Yeah.
He can do all this for me. Think of what he can do for you. Wow.
Sure.
That's
And
just
I
incredible.
was actually having a discussion yesterday, I think, with another film producer, and I had a thought, and I was trying to find the other half of that thought. And this is what's so cool, is that God just put us together to discuss this at this particular time. But I, the thought came out to be this: it's so much better to be in a mindset and a heart set to be seeking mercy than it is to be seeking justice, because we're going to be seeking mercy at the end of this. We're not
Yes.
going to be seeking justice, because God knows that I'm not worthy for what I do, for what I mess up every day, you know,
Don't we
every
all? Yes.
single day. And that's the one time when we have to stand there. That's going to be the time that we don't really want to hear about justice. We're going to want to hear about mercy. So I think that if we put that on, it changes our mindset from being, okay, well, I'm a victim because of this, or I'm a victim because of that. It's not about being a victim. It's about having a heart that's seeking mercy versus one that's seeking justice. Because
Wow.
the justice is not ours to have anyway. That's not ours. It's not our job to
Not
seek
our job. That's
justice.
what I was going to say. Yeah.
It's not our job. Our job is to love. That's it.
That's it. That is it. Just treat each other with kindness and love each other. And
That's it.
sometimes it's so hard to do for everyone, and everyone falls short of that.
Yeah.
That's great. That's exactly right. Love is what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Wow. So, gosh, you have so many. That's just so inspiring. You are such an inspiring person. You really, really are. Have you
That's
ever
not
done
me.
any preaching? Do you do any preaching also?
No, I try to. I try to use my comedy and my humor, because I'm a storyteller. I tell funny stories. I am. I've been referred to as the new Jerry, or the next Jerry Clower,
Oh,
or
wow.
so those are the kinds of stories that I tell.
Well,
And
would you like to share a story with us? Because we all need a good laugh. Putting you on the
all right,
spot.
let's see. Um, I'm gonna let my wife is here. I'm gonna let you pick a
Okay.
story. What do you want to hear? You tell me. She's heard them all plus some.
Rosalie said, "You tell us one."
I like the one where y'all are running radar and you pull over the preacher
Okay.
or
All right,
the
great.
pet fish.
Oh, this is going to be good. I have a feeling if she picked it, it's
The,
going to be
Or
great.
the pet fish.
Thank you, honey.
oh, okay. She
Okay,
said
I'm
thank you.
ready.
You're welcome.
All right. So, when I started policing, I got to do all these crazy and great fun things. I got to be I was on Vice and SWAT, and I got to do all these really cool things.
Wow.
But I truly wanted to be a motorcycle cop. That's what I really wanted to be. I wanted to ride every day. I wanted to go to work and ride one of those big Harleys. That's
Like
what
your
I
ships?
really, really, truly wanted to do. And so I worked hard. I finally got assigned to the unit. I was so excited. And we got this mission that they had some accidents out on this particular stretch of interstate, and they wanted us to go out and work speed enforcement to get everybody to slow down. There's just too many accidents out there. So we get out there, and we had this thing set up to where we were at the bottom of the hill, about a half a mile from the top of the hill, and there was an overpass up there. Well,
Okay.
the overpass, we put one man up there. He's up there with the laser, and there's room down here, at the bottom of the hill for 5 or 6 of us to pull off and sit. Well, the guy with the laser, he's clocking speed, and then he'd call it down to us, and whoever was next in line, they'd take off and go get whoever was going too fast, get them to slow down. So you'd be sitting there, and you'd hear over your radio, you'd hear like, little black car is 65 and a 45. Little black car is 65 and a 45. Well, that guy, he'd take off and slow him down. Well, I'm sitting there, and I'm all excited. I'm next in line. I'm sitting there, and I hear little red truck, 86 and a 55. Little red truck,
86.
86 and a 55. And I crank up that big Harley. And I take off out onto the interstate. Get out there. Now, I got to tell you, for the truth, is that in the back of my mind, I was hearing the theme song for Chips. Right?
Did you hear
So
me say Chips?
I get out on the interstate, and sure enough, that little red truck says right on by, right? So I fall in behind him, and I pull him over. I get him off on the side of the highway. I get off the motorcycle, and I hike up my gun belt. I don't really know why we do that.
I don't know.
But it
They
looks
all
real
do.
cool. It looks
They all
really
do.
cool. It looks really cool. And in my very best Poncherello strut, I approach the car. I get up to the truck and I said, "Sir, do you know why I've stopped you?" And he said, "No, sir." I said, "Well, you're running 86 and a 55. He said, "No, sir, I was not." I said, "Oh, yeah, you're running 86 and a 55, or I wouldn't have you on the side of the highway here." He said, "No, I wasn't." He said, "In fact, let me tell you how I know that you don't know how fast I was going. You see, when I come over the hill up there, you was already pulling out onto the highway. You didn't use a radar or a laser or nothing to clock my speed. You was going to stop the next car that come by. It just happened to be me. You can put whatever you want to on the ticket. I wasn't running 86 and a 55. And I said, "Well, sir, the fella up yonder was telling me that you was running 86 and a 55. And he said, "Oh, well, all right."
He didn't
And I
think
said,
anybody clocked it.
and I said, "Sir, you have argued with me for a good 4 minutes on the side of the highway. Tell me, what did I do? What did I say that made you change your mind so easy?" And he said, "Son, I have been a Baptist preacher for the last 25 years. And if the fella up yonder told you I was running 86 miles an hour, I was running 86 miles an hour."
The fella up yonder. Oh,
I
that's
shook
good.
his hand and told him to have a good day.
That's a good story.
That's a true story.
I love it. And that makes it even funnier because it's a true story. You can't make up stuff like that, can you?
Exactly.
Wow. So the fella up yonder. That's an excellent choice. Excellent choice, ma'am.
Thank you.
There you go.
Sorry, I can't see you, but I'm that was a good choice. I like that. That is hilarious. So you're doing so many cool things, Joey. So I know you're acting now. Tell us some of the movies that we can see you in right now and things you got coming up. I got a whole list of them, but I know you got them. You can list them a lot quicker than I can.
Sure. The latest movie that I've actually had, I've had 4 that have premiered this year, right? But only only 2 are
available.
Are out, right? Okay. So there's, I'm sorry, I have to, because I can't keep up.
You can't with that many things. I don't know how you do. Yes.
We've had 4 that we've premiered. We've had the premiere for this year, but there's 2 that are out and available now. The other 2 will be coming out shortly. It's a how do I say it? It's the ebb and flow of when products come out, when movies and TV shows come out and premiere. There's a lot of things that they figure in as to when it's going to do the best. So the one that I want to really tell you about is The Skeleton's Compass. The Skeleton's Compass, when I got that script, I read it and I closed it and I told my wife, I said, "I want to make this movie." There was not one piece of innuendo. There was no vulgarity. There was no suggestion. There was no profanity. There was nothing in the movie that wasn't appropriate. Wow. Grandma and the grandkids can sit down and watch this movie, and it's a great story. It's just a good story. It actually won the Dove seal of approval for all ages, which is a big deal.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. And it's done really well. It's out on all the major streaming platforms now. They just announced something about it. What did I'm so sorry. It's now available on Tubi. There's another platform. That was what it was. It just premiered on Tubi just a couple of days ago now, I think.
Yeah, because we stream also. We use Hulu and all of those, so we can go to Tubi or any other streaming service. We'll have to search for it because I definitely want to watch it now. It's available already, then, right?
Yes, yes, it is available now. It is out and doing its thing. It's got great reviews, and it's just a good story. Like I said, I play the dad, and it's all about family. It's about an adventure. It's got time travel. It's got so many great things. Yeah, but it's just a really good story. I was trying to think. So the Redback Revival sing-along show, it's out now. It's premiered and it's out. And like I said, it's available. The episodes that have already aired are now available on YouTube. I think there's 2 or 3 different channels that are showing that. As far as some of the bigger movies, the Spike Lee movie Son of the South with Lucas Teal, Lucy Hale, Cedric the Entertainer. It was actually Brian Dennehy's last movie. That movie is out and available. It's on all the major streaming platforms as well, and DVD. Yes, thank you. So there's that. There's, I mean, I hate just to run down a list of a ton of different movies, but the later few that are available now, and try to help me with this. It's Skeleton's Compass, Scott Free. It's an urban crime drama.
That's what you play the detective in, right?
Yes, I play a detective in that movie, and it's doing really well. It's out. It's a not rated movie. I don't think it has a rating. But it would be a rated R movie just because of some of the violence and things that is in that film. Pulpit Gangster, which is a true story. That story would also have. I gotta preface this with this. It would also have an R rating. But the weird thing, and this is how God works. Pulpit Gangster is the Arthur Ashe House of Prayer story from the church that was here in Atlanta. That was a huge scandal, and it was. If you watch the movie, just be prepared to see how the devil can work inside a church. Just be prepared.
That's called Pulpit Gangster?
Pulpit Gangster.
Okay, I'm writing these down.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm writing these down because I want to check them out. Yes, absolutely.
It's the story of read about. You can read the Cliff Notes version of the story, but I actually had this was when I was working in Atlanta as an officer. I had one of my informants came to me, and he said, "Hey, this is going on. You guys might want to look at this," and that was outside of my wheelhouse for my scope of what I was working at the time.
Right.
And but I took that information and I took it to the investigators that were working that scope of crime, and I said, "Hey, you can look at this. I don't know." And he called me back in 2 or 3 days, and he said, "How did you find out about that?" And I told him.
Wow.
He said, "We've been working on that for over a year." And he said,
"You are doing a movie about it. How much longer? How much after?" That's crazy. That's not
10
just
years
crazy.
later. 10 years later,
wow.
I get a script sent to me. "Hey, would you be interested in doing this movie?" I set the script down. I read it, and as I'm reading it, I go, "This is the House of Prayer," and I'm reading, and I'm like, "This is exactly the story." And I get to the end of it, and I called the guy, and I said, I know this story." And he said, "Well, if you're from Atlanta, you probably know the story because of being on the news and everything." And I said, No. I know the story. Like, I know more than what the news told. I know the story.
That's crazy. Yeah.
As it unfolds, the gentleman that produced the movie, it was his story. He was one of the victims that was in this situation. And I didn't realize that until we were probably halfway through filming. He finally came and sat down. He goes, "What do you think about this story?" And I was sitting there, and I hadn't told anybody, but I looked at him and I said, "This is your story." And he said, "Yeah." but
You could
nobody
just
knows that.
tell.
So
You could just
nobody
tell.
knows that. So
Wow.
just keep it quiet.
Wow.
And it just it's amazing. It's a disturbing but true movie.
Oh my
So
gosh. The
yeah,
So I think that's incredible. I mean, it must be so thrilling to be able to act in these movies and television shows. I mean, to get to portray different characters and I mean, gosh, you get to be so many different people.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I must be the most it must be so thrilling. And obviously you're great at it. I can't wait. I'm gonna go back. Y'all make sure and go back and check out some of his movies. So we have the let me make sure I got it right. The
Mhm.
Skeleton's Compass,
Yep.
the Redback Revival Show. That's the Redback Revival Show. Is that what that is? The singing one,
Redback
right?
Revival Sing Along Show.
Oh, sing along. I got to remember sing along,
Mhm.
and that's on YouTube. I'm writing that down so I can go check
Yep.
them out.
Uh-huh.
Son of the South.
Son of the South. Yep.
Okay, and then Scott Free, and
Scott
then
Free.
Pulpit Gangster, which is a true story.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
gosh, the things you've got to do, and that's just some of them. I know it's not all of them.
Yeah.
That's
There's
incredible.
yeah.
Were
I
there
have I
ever
have been blessed with tremendous opportunities. And
Yes, and when you were laying in that hospital bed, I mean, that's just amazing what God has done, really, because like you said, it's through nothing you did. Did you
right.
ever? I'm sure you never thought, "Hey, I'm going to be an actor 10 years down the road, or however many years down the road. I'm going to be a police officer, then an actor." You're like,
Never.
that is just amazing how your life is
Never.
just completely transformed, and you've gotten to do all of these. And what's so great about it is you have such a large platform now that you can help other people, and I know you're doing that. You
Yeah.
can help others and contribute and just, gosh, bring joy to people. I think that's so incredible. God, you must be just overwhelmed with just gratitude. I know, I can tell you're very grateful for all these opportunities.
I am. I am very, very grateful. And there's some that, there's been different times in my life where I can tell that things are getting ready. I'm like, okay, he's getting ready to do something, because things will start changing that I don't know. I don't even know any other way to describe it. And that's actually, some of that has been going on over the past 2 months. And I've told my wife, I'm like, something's changing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where we're fixing to go, or what we're getting ready to, what we're about to embark on now. But it is exciting. It is
Yeah.
exciting. But at the back of that, I don't want to say I'm impatient, but I'm such a hard charger.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that really, really, really likes putting rubber to the road. Like,
Yeah.
okay, if we're
What's
going
next?
to Alaska, I
Let's
got it.
go.
I'll do the logistics. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out. And I know that something is changing now. I know that, we've had a ton of new movies and TV shows, and I'm just now finishing an executive producer and a lead on a new television show. In fact, my last day filming is tomorrow, and so that's coming. And there's just so many other things. But the Redback show is taking off, and I know that God is about to use me in that direction a lot. I truly feel like that I'm going to be doing a lot more of the comedy and the humor stuff on that stage as well. I was when I done the comedy tours, we had a permanent show out in Branson, Missouri for 18 months,
Oh, wow.
and I got to do those shows. There's no telling how many hundreds of shows that I've done with some of the same material, but obviously it's always evolving and changing
Change
into
it a
new
little bit. Yeah.
things. But there's so much stage time, and it's just so easy now. Like, it just translates so easy. And I've never been a I've never been a PG comic. I've never been an R-rated comic. I
Maria.
I want to do comedy that grandma and the grandkids can come and sit down and watch and
Yes.
laugh and have a good time. In fact, I've turned down cruise ships for huge companies, because they would say things like, okay, we want you to do your first show and it needs to be a G-rated show, but your late show, we want it to be an R-rated show. And I'm like, no, I can do the same show or different material,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be R-rated to be funny. It just doesn't have to be. You know, anybody can say something and make an audience go, oh, I can't believe he said that.
Yes.
And you get that. It's almost a nervous laughter, but that's not real laughter. Somebody that can make the heart laugh, that's
a
talent.
big difference. That's true. Gosh, Joey, that is so well said, to make your heart laugh.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's beautiful. I love that. That is so
That's
perfect.
the talent.
Yes, I want to say hi to Maria. Thank you for being here, Maria. Thanks to everyone for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate it. Joey, I need to interrupt you just for a moment because I need to get a word in from our sponsor. It only take about 30 seconds or so. So we've been really blessed here at Carolyn's Corner. We're always searching for more sponsors. And Joey, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everyone before I forget. If you know of anyone that you think would be a good fit for our show, please send them our way. We singers, songwriters, it has to be original songs. I don't know why I just made it that a rule. Comedians, we're open to that. I love that. Actors, anybody you can think of, please send them our way, because I love having different types of people and different genres, different abilities, different passions. And Scores Bar and Grill is a place here in Beeville, in our little small town in Texas. And they've been gracious enough to be our sponsor. So I just want to play their commercial real quick and tell them thank you so much for being a sponsor. And then we'll be right back. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear the great news? Scores Bar and Grill right here in Beeville at 1502 North St. Mary Street is now open 7 nights per week. That's right, Scores is open 7 nights per week starting at 5 p.m. With nightly specials, open mic every Wednesday, karaoke the first Saturday of every month. You can check them out by going to their Facebook page at Scores Bar Beeville. Go check it out. You'll be so glad you did. All right. Thanks again to our wonderful sponsor, Scores. We really appreciate you. So you are doing so many amazing things and touching so many lives. Is there anything that you'd like to tell our audience, maybe to inspire them, to encourage them? Say they're going through a hard time. Say that they're undecided on which path to take in life. I think you'd be a perfect person to give them that little bit of encouragement, because obviously whatever you're doing is working, and you've got, just anything you want to add for our audience, for our listeners.
Well, I think that the first thing to remember is that God is so real. We as humans, as people, we get into the mindset so many times of being able to be in control. And I think that that's what I said earlier about God always having a plan. That's one of the beautiful things about God, is that you don't have to have the plan. He's got it. And when you allow him to take control, the things that he can do in our lives, when I have auditions for movies and TV shows and things like that, I do the best I can. I do the best that I can. I do what I think the character is that would go along with the setting and things like that. But more important than that, when I get done, when I send those auditions off to the casting directors, or when I go into the room with a casting director, after I'm done, I say, God, if that's where you want me to be, make it work out. And if that's not where you want me to be, I don't want to be there anyway. And that's the truth, because I don't ever want to be somewhere that he doesn't want me to be. Because as long as I allow him to stay in control, I don't have to worry about messing up, because he's got it.
That's true. Wow, that's true.
So it's not my job to be steering the boat. It's my job to be riding. That's all I'm doing. I'm just supposed to ride. I'm not supposed to run the rudder or run the sails or any of that stuff. All I have to do is ride. My friend Terry has got a great way of putting it. You got a free life. It's free. It didn't cost you anything. Do something with it. And when we look at it like that, there's so many times I hear people say things like, well, God, I've done so many bad things in my life, that this or that. And I usually just ask them the question, have you ever went out in the morning? Have you woke up and got your things together and called some friends and said, hey, I want you to go with me because we're going on a Christian hunt today. And we're going to hunt and kill Christians. That's what we're going to
Wow.
do. And the answer is always, no, I've never done anything like that. No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Saul did. Saul got up every day with one purpose, and that was to go and hunt and kill Christians. And God turned him around and forgave him. And Saul turned into Paul and was responsible for writing numerous books of the New Testament, led thousands of people to know God. So when you think that you've done some really bad things, and we all have, we all do.
Yes.
But the forgiving grace of God and being in that mindset of I need mercy, not justice. He tells us over and over to just humble ourselves as kids. And I think, to me, when I'm on stage doing comedy, when somebody is laughing at something that I have done or said, I've never felt as perfectly in my place. I've never felt more as a peg perfectly in a hole than then. I truly feel like that at that time, God can look at me and say, you're that one right there. He's doing exactly what I wanted him to do right there. Look,
Wow.
he's doing exactly what he needs to do right now. Because look at how many others are forgetting about all the bad stuff. And
Yes.
they're just laughing at him. And he loves it.
That's so great.
So I think to share with somebody just simply God's love is that he wants a relationship with you. He desires that. And when you allow him to have it, and you allow him to come in, and you allow him to be in charge, I'm not going to say that you're not going to have trouble. I'm not going to say that you're not going to have anything to ever worry about, because that's just who we are. He knows that. God built us.
Yeah.
But he's in charge. Well, okay, God.
I guess we're going over here.
I guess we're going over here today. Okay, here we go. You know,
I love that. So I want to give a real quick shout out, because I try to shout out. I said hi to Marie. I want to say hi to Marie. We have Maria and Marie, our dear friends, and then Gabby Arnold. Welcome, TK Fox. Welcome. I borrowed TK Fox's name because I think it's a great DJ name. So
that's cool.
now I pretend like I'm TK Fox. Anyway, it's a long
there
story.
You go. That sounds great.
Yeah, this is TK Fox. But anyway, thank you, ladies, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I love it too, Gabby. This has been great, Joey. I mean, really great. Gosh, I wish we could just sit up all night and just talk to you, because you're such an interesting person, and you've got so many incredible things that you've done and you're doing. And I just know that you're making a big impact in the world. I don't know if you saw what I wrote. But the reason I want to call it Carolyn's Corner is because we want to spread love in our little corner of the world. And you're spreading love in your corner and beyond. And I think that's so important, because we need that. We need inspiration. Yeah. Yes. Gabby said, that's why I clown, to make others happy. I know it makes people happy to make them laugh and smile, doesn't it? That's why I'm always so goofy. We have to try to bring some joy, no matter what it is, no matter how silly we have to be. And you're doing that, Joey. You are absolutely doing that. I'm so thrilled that you've been on our show. I really am. I want to encourage you also, if you anytime you have anything new coming out, please share it with me on my Facebook or wherever, so I can share it with our audience and they can tune in and check it out. Y'all go check out some of the wonderful movies that Joey's been in. I mean, wow. Like, so impressive. And TK Fox shared the love. Thank you, TK. I hope you're doing better, sweetheart. Yeah, and I can't even imagine being a clown. Everybody calls me a clown, even though I don't wear the clown makeup. That would be so great. I would imagine you'd be a great clown in a movie too, Joey. Man.
You think so?
I think so. I think you could do anything you put your heart to, because you're doing it for the right reasons.
We haven't talked about this, but I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I've been, let's see, 2008, I think. 2008, I was actually the clown of the year. My son, My son won Clown of the Year at 16. He was the youngest person to ever receive the award.
Are
And
you serious?
I'm absolutely serious. The year 2009, we won Clowning Duo of the Year, and we're still the only father and son to have ever won that award.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
I told you. I had no idea, folks. I really had no idea. That is so cool. That is so cool. Well, I was right. You make a great clown. TK said, "Congrats, man. That's so great, God. I'm excited to hear when you do something new. Please share it with us because I think
will.
it's so neat, and I want to make sure and tell everybody to go back, watch the show. If you missed it, please watch it. We just barely touched on some of the great things you've done, Joey. My gosh, what an inspiration you are.
Thank you.
I'm thrilled that Rosalie recommended you, referred you, and sent you our way. Oh yeah, well I do have a clown story. So
Okay,
my husband
great.
just walked in and told me to share this.
All right, be careful because once we go down the avenue of circus, then it's a whole different ballgame. It's because we will absolutely talk all night.
Well,
the last conversation I had, we started at what time did we start? At like 10. At 10 at night, we ended up we stopped at 1. Yeah, we went to like 1 o'clock in the morning. So
oh yeah, I know, and I can talk. Believe me, once I get started, I'm going to try to make it quick. So I don't know. Some of the people that are on here have heard my story about the clown, and it's hilarious. So years ago, before I met my husband, now I was dating a guy, and when I met him, he said he was a clown, and I was like, sure, I'm sure you're a clown. You know what I mean? You don't really believe it. You're like, oh, he's a clown. He's a silly guy. Well, until he asked me out and we were going to go out on the town. This is so long ago. And he was going to go do his thing downtown in Corpus Christi. And he comes to my door dressed in the full clown, the full thing. Red nose, 14 size shoes, big baggy clothes with pockets. So he says, do you want to drive? Because it's hard for me to drive with my shoes on. So I looked at him and thought, oh my God, I can't believe I'm literally dating a clown because I didn't believe that he was literally a clown.
You never drive with the shoes on.
Yes. So I'm driving. I have a little Ford Escort station wagon. And we stopped to get gas, and all of a sudden we hear a big boom, and it's the craziest thing. If God ever wanted to get my attention, that got my attention. And it was the strangest thing. My battery exploded. We thought somebody was shooting at us. We ducked down, like people were pointing at him like, oh my God, because he's in full clown, you know. And so the car is completely dead. Well, where I worked was about a mile away. Not even a mile. So I knew that if I could get where I worked, that we could borrow the company truck, you know, because we're stranded.
Right.
So I'm asking everyone at this gas station for help, and nobody will help us because they look at him because he's dressed like a clown. So he starts pushing the car in his clown outfit.
That's the best. That's the best.
It was unbelievable. Finally, someone agreed because it was too far for him to push the car. And I was like, we have to get to there. And I guess we didn't have money or something. I don't remember why we didn't just call a cab. You know, this is back in the early 80s, you know, late 80s. Right. So finally a truck with a couple of guys in it. And I was scared, but I was like, well, I got to get over there. Because they said, we'll give you a ride, but only if he rides in the back of the So now, and my family never got to meet him because he went on to Ringling Brothers. Like he was for real. Like.
Okay. So now I'm going to
go ahead.
Do you mind saying his name? Because I may know him.
Oh my God. That would be so crazy. His name was Obie the Clown. Obie the Clown.
What was his name on this? Because on Ringling, no one uses a clown name. You generally use a name.
John. What was his last name? John Smith. It was like a name. It's been so long I can't remember his last name. He was a very short, very sweet guy, very nice. Okay. But everybody thought I was his mother or his bodyguard because he's this little good.
That's awesome. I'm going to tell you, and this is so true. I don't know that I have ever met a more open and accepting and welcoming and caring group in anything I've ever done.
I bet.
Clowns are they're special. And
Yeah.
I heard a very dear friend of mine, a guy that really taught me the bones of it. He said they're special, and he said I don't mean special like that. He said I mean, and this is so true. He said these are God's special ones. He said
Wow.
because He created them to allow their feelings to be out and so open, because that is how they're literally giving life to people that don't realize it. They're literally doing that. And because we were making jokes back and forth one day, and he said something about it, and he said, "Be careful." He said, "Those are God's special people." He said
Wow.
he's really careful with them. And later on, I thought, you know what? He's telling the truth, because I got to go to the circus one time as a child, and I came home and I taught myself how to balance and juggle and do all these things. And later in life, when I was policing, actually, is when this happened. I was able to start doing it on the scale. I was able to start, and I never wanted it to be a job. So
Yeah.
I would only go to the children's hospitals and
Oh.
nursing homes and things like that. And it turned into every off day that I had from the police department turned into that. I like
Oh my gosh.
I was getting calls, please come over here, please come over there,
Oh,
please come over here. And by the time that I retired from the police department, I was turning down more money clowning than I was making policing.
wow. Oh
And
my gosh. And
yeah,
it's what I just thought of. I never thought of this until you said that. Because the clowns, they're not into themselves so much because they're hiding who they really are. Their whole purpose in life is to bring joy to others, and that there's no what is the word I'm trying to think of? You don't even know who they are really. You know what I mean?
right,
So it's not
right.
like, wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool. I never
And
thought of
his or her true job is to elicit emotion from whoever he or she is
that.
performing
Right,
for.
right.
So whether it be good, bad, or whether it be happy or sad or whatever it is, the true purpose of a performer, if someone takes the time to watch a movie that I've done or come watch me perform live or whatever it is, that's the ultimate compliment that someone can give you as a performer, because they are literally giving you that portion of their life. And there's so many performers out there that don't realize that. They don't weigh that if I walk out at my next comedy show in front of 1,000 or 1,500 people, those 1,500 or 1,000 people have set aside that 90 minutes of their life to
Right.
come and watch me. That is a tremendous responsibility that I have, to make sure that I remove them from whatever they're going through, whatever they're dealing with. I take them out of that and I bring them into my world for that 90 minutes, and I give them the relief or the inspiration or whatever it is, but they'll never get that time back. If I take $50 from them, I've only taken their money.
Right,
But if
right.
I take 90 minutes from them, I've taken a piece of their life that they'll never get back. And to me, that is such a valuable thing, that they trust me with that. So that may be way deeper than what you wanted to get into, Carolyn, but
No, but that's interesting. Yes, that's true
it's
too.
it's such a tremendous responsibility to do that. But that's what, as a clown, that's what you're trying to do. You're just trying to remove people from whatever they're dealing with and bring them into your world for a little while and show them that there's something else going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know I can just imagine that you did such a great job. Oh my gosh, that's so weird that you were a clown. I had no idea. Marie said she has friends that were clowns and it was never a dull moment with them. And
Yeah.
then she says her oldest daughter is definitely afraid of clowns, but I have always loved them. I like
Well,
clowns. I always have.
it depends on. There's people that say that that they're deathly afraid and things like that. I always say, well, you just haven't met the right one,
Yes,
because
yes.
it doesn't take makeup to make a clown.
That's true. Some
It
people are
doesn't.
just
It
born
doesn't.
clowns.
It doesn't take a, yeah. It doesn't take
That's
a
true.
costume to make a clown. It takes the heart to make a clown. So
Absolutely. Wow. That is so cool. And you were a clown. Oh my gosh, Joey. I just love you. Tell your wife, no offense. I just love Joey. I love you too. I can't see your wife, but tell her I love her. Honestly, I
Thank
am
you.
so thrilled that you were here. I really am. I know. I pray that everybody will like, comment, and share. Especially share this. Share the show. Share the show. That's
Yeah.
a tongue twister. Because I want everybody to hear your inspirational stories and what all you've accomplished. And
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's been thrilling. And Gabby said volunteer clown, and I agree. I think that's so cool, Gabby.
Mhm.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Bring some joy to people because we all need it.
Yep.
Everybody's struggling with something, especially now, since the pandemic and all that. It
Mhm.
seems as though it's more and more people are struggling. I don't know. Maybe it was
Mhm.
always that way, but to me, it feels like it's even worse than it ever has been. There's
Yeah.
so many terrible things happening in the world. So if we can bring a smile, if you can bring a smile to someone's face, get their mind off of it by being a different character on a show. I mean, I think
Yep.
that's so incredible. And I am
Yeah.
so thrilled that you were here. I can't say it enough, Joey. And I really hope you'll stay in touch and
Yeah, absolutely.
share yes, please share me. You got to share me. Share with me anything new that you're doing. If you
Sure.
have a release coming out, anything like that, share it and I'll put it on my Facebook. I know it's not a lot, but hey, I want to do that at
Hey,
least.
that's great. And it's very much appreciated. It's been a thrill for me to be here with you. And thank you so much for sharing with me and for your viewers sharing with me. That means a lot. And I sincerely appreciate them being here. And thank you for the opportunity. It has been a blast. I can't wait to do it again. I'm already excited.
I know. Well, you're welcome back anytime. Honestly, just let me know. If you got something new coming, you want to come in and promote it, you can come on
Sure.
in as often as far as I'm concerned, because I've loved having you. You're a blast. And Marie said she shared it and she wants to know what your last name is. That's Thurmond. And I noticed I made a mistake on one spot. I knew I was going to do it. I spelt it right on everything except for that one little thing. So I'm like, oh God, I'll have to go back and fix it. So it's Mond. But you pronounce it Thurmond, right?
Yep.
Okay, because I was like, it's not an A. Thurmond is
Right.
not a U. I want to make sure. And then my husband noticed I spelt it wrong in one spot anyway. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yep. Marie, thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate all of you guys and gals tuning in tonight. As I say every week, try to be kind to others. Try to share some love in any way you can. Because nobody's perfect, but we got to try to make this world a little bit better, at least in your little corner, wherever you are. I know, Joey, you're doing it. And I'm so thrilled you were here. Thank you so much. God, I pray that God continues to bless you in everything that you do and that you're successful. And it's just so exciting to see all these cool things you're doing, Joey. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great night. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
See you, everybody. Bye-bye.